Hello, everybody. Welcome to another stream of the Lounge Alley. This is Drawing Comics, where I'm going to be doing more of John Buscema's work, getting closer and closer to finishing up the book. I set myself up this goal of drawing the book, the comic book, or that specific issue from cover to cover. And for those of you who've been along the ride, you guys have seen me come halfway through. Now at this point, it's unfortunately only once a week that I could afford time to dedicate to it, so it's a lot longer than it should be. It should be a lot faster. But I'm going to be continuing on that in just a few, right after I introduce you guys to this new comic book. Well, it's not really new, but I haven't really talked about it on stream. I figured, why not introduce everybody to Moonshine? For those of you who have actually been sticking around since the beginning, I did introduce Eduardo Risso before. He is one of my favorite artists who did 100 Bullets. It's another really great comic book. If you guys missed it, you can check it out by heading over to the video section on Twitch and filtering the videos based on collection. It's going to open up a folder for you, or multiple folders, one of them being special streams. And over there you guys will find pretty much all of the special moments and streams throughout the Art Lounge Alley. One of them is going to be 100 Bullets. I talk about that. I talk about how amazing his work is. I bring up specific points and panels to talk about. But this is another book, actually, and it's done by the same writer, Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Risso. So two of my favorites coming together to create Moonshine. I am guilty of not reading it just yet. You know, I guess I got so much going on, so much on my plate that I'm kind of putting it off a bit. You know, there's other comic books that I'm reading, but I'm excited to have this on waiting for me, basically, after I get through the other ones. Absolutely love his work. It's unfortunate that Patricia Mulvihill is not the colorist, because I really love the combination, you know, of all of them together. Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Risso, Patricia Mulvihill, they did such an amazing job when it came to 100 Bullets. I really love that comic book. But here, Eduardo Risso is actually doing the colors, and he's done a really awesome job. I gotta tell you, I really love the colors here, how he's done each and every single panel. But on just quickly going over, at first when I looked at this, I was like, this looks familiar. It doesn't look like Eduardo Risso's work. It looks like Frank Miller. And surely enough, like, I didn't realize it at first. I didn't really, I guess, pay attention that much, but then I realized, I looked inside and it says Frank Miller, variant cover artist Frank Miller. And Frank Miller is also, I want to say he's an indie comic book artist, but not really. Like, everybody knows Frank Miller for Sin City, the movie Sin City, the comic book Sin City. That's one of the things that he's really well known for. He's really popular for. But I really like his style, and his style is, I guess both of their styles is very similar, because Frank Miller also uses shadows really well. Like, the contrast between light and shadow is like one of the things that he's really well known for. And for those of you who have seen the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But Eduardo Risso is also incredible at it. He adds such drama, and as you could see in a lot of these panels, it's very much present from this, you know, from all these dark shadows that you see here to like this right here, having the guy in the background, but you could see his eyes still. He is excellent at using shadows, the contrast of shadows. But yeah, just take a look. I really love the colors on here as well, and how well he chose them for the entire page, basically. And just something about his line work, you know, it really breathes life into the scene, and I absolutely love this one right here. The perspective here, and all the tiny little details that he puts into it to give more character. Like, I love this little detail right here. It kind of breaks up the plainness, I guess, of the wooden panels going across. So he adds those little things, and specifically in the center to kind of break that up, you know, going from like more smooth planks to a little bit more grimy to smooth. I think that's excellent. And just all the little details that you see on the floor as well add so much character to the scene. And also it's not incredibly detailed, yet it is. You know, there's detail here, but it's not I want to say incredibly technical. There's this like free-flowing sort of element to it, which I really love. But at the end, it looks incredibly professional. Also really like the face expressions that he has on here, and all the multiple lines. He's really good at it. His hands are excellent. Like, I absolutely love how he draws hands. I think it's one of his best qualities. He also has a little bit of collage going on over here, which I didn't notice actually, but if you take a look at the background here, the skyscrapers there, that's a photo that he took and he put it behind his drawings, which is really cool. It's a very cool combination. It looks beautiful, especially with the contrast between the shadows again and the light there. Very well done. But overall, you know, just without even reading the story, but just looking and really appreciating the panel work, you know, the camera angles, like that's, I think, one of his other strong suits as well, you know, aside from all those other things that I mentioned. His camera work, telling the story and having different perspectives to do it, you know, how he goes from scene to scene and how he designs them to look. Absolutely love this shot right here. This one to follow as well. So I'm not going to go throughout the entire comic book. I do want to get to the drawing. I do feel very inspired by looking at this stuff. I always do. Every time I look at his work, it always kicks me into gear of just wanting to draw more. But I figured I'd share it with you guys. And now I'm recognizing that I might not have shown everything in sight for you guys. So I'm just going to go over it one more time so you can see it, especially these two panels right here that are really beautiful. And of course, given the color, there's like variation to the colors as well, like from the warm sunlight that's hitting the desks and the walls, but it's a gradient. If you notice that it's a slight gradient from green to yellowish to orange. It's really well done. I really like how he went about coloring all this stuff. So get your issue, guys. This is issue number 1. Actually, this is the first one. It's way up there now. Right now, I got up to 6, but I want to say you have more than that. I probably have more than issue 6. It's higher than 6. That's just the last one that I've actually that I bought. But support your local comic book shop. Support this artist. It's a lot of fun. Every single panel. The story is great as well. Brian Azzarello is awesome. He's an awesome writer. So pick up your issue, guys, and check this out. It's called Moonshine. All right, everybody. So that's enough of that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to put it back into this right here. Keep it safe, which I haven't been doing so much with what I'm going to be working on today. So for those of you who are tuning in, as you can see, these are the current panels that I'm on right now that I finished. I'm going to be moving on to the next one, which is going to be this one right here, which is pretty fun. I love drawing their faces. I love how John Buscema draws the faces. So this is an old book halfway through, as you could see. Like once you start seeing the staples down the middle, you know that it's halfway through the comic book. So I'm hoping to get this done and get started on this one. This one's going to take quite a bit. I'm skipping this page because these pages have been done. And for those of you who haven't seen them before, I'm going to just show you guys. I'm going to say it was earlier. Slightly earlier. Yeah, there you go. You see. This is here. Didn't fully finish this one, given the limit. I just started actually trying to copy the panels, but as you could see, size-wise, it's just not going to fit. It would have been really tiny. Everything would have been a lot smaller, and that's already posing itself to be quite a challenge, having to narrow things down and shrink them down to this paper. But here as well, I have to like cut out one of the faces, which is this guy right here, as he morphs to a lizard. This was cool. I really like the results here. I thought it was fun to draw this one out. And I did watercolor with this one, so surprisingly, it turned out alright with watercolor here. But as I continued through, I decided to switch over to India ink for this very reason. If you could see, well, yeah, you could kind of see it. It's warped. The paper is warped. You know, it doesn't do well with water that much. And India ink proves itself to be much better for this reason. So I've been going through it, you know, and here we are, halfway through. I want to just see if I can. Yeah, I started doing India inks here, and as you can see, the paper is a lot more smooth here. I also did a little bit of color pencil. I have this like entire color pencil set, and that was a lot of fun as well. But I do enjoy using the brush, so I kind of want to incorporate all of that into this whole project. All right, everybody. So enough of that. And let me see, I can't fit. Can I fit? Well, it would have to be exactly this size. And I'm probably going to do that. You know, why not? I figured it's better. It's better to utilize as much of the space as possible. So this is going to be another really small drawing, but worth it. So I'm going to start out, like I always do, with drawing the panel. It's a really useful tool, this ruler. It's super cheap. I got it at some like dollar store. But the fact that it's transparent is really helpful, because like as I'm doing this line, right, I could compare how parallel the line that I'm making is to the line right here. And it's not really straight. Okay, I'm going to say that that's about right. And any changes to the panel itself, I'm going to do later. So, ooh, this is going to be challenging because it's slightly bigger. I'm gonna say. My panel is slightly bigger. But I'm gonna do a quick sketch of everything. I'm gonna use 3 circles to cover their face, basically. Make sure that their face fits into the panel. Not fully for this guy in the background. Guy who saved Conan, basically. So Conan has a bone to pick with this cult leader, basically. Sound familiar? There's cults going on right now. He infiltrated their cult meeting and he was discovered. You know, he dressed up as one of the cult members. He found a location of where they meet secretly. And he tried to like stick around and see what's going on over there, to only be discovered and then beaten and crucified in the middle of the desert on this dying tree, this dead tree. So there's a lot of symbolism there. It's actually a really cool panel. You guys can like skip back several streams to find out what happened there. But it looks like my guy's a little bit too big. A little too big, and too wide. This is quite a bit of a challenge because it really is about the same size. So I have to draw things to the T in order to make sure everything fits here. Because the space between like the top of his head, you know, where his hair is, and this panel right here, maybe the panel is a little too wide. Or too long, rather. Like this space right here, I want to say is a lot longer. Like it should be about there. Since it's kind of the same, right? Let me just measure this out. Yeah, like my panel is slightly bigger. So I should still have the same gap. I'm gonna just measure that out real quick. That gap between the... Yeah, I guess it's not too far off. It's about the same. From this last correction that I made, it's about right. But aside from just really enjoying John Buscema's work and like learning from it, I'm also trying to level up by paying attention to like the smallest detail to get it almost to the T of the original. Yeah, to take my like attention to detail to the next level. Become even more aware of little things on there. As I'm talking about that, I'm like, I wonder if I can make a comic book about painting forgery. Like a painter who's incredibly good and is able to forge some of the highest value paintings to the T, and how that story would go. I would probably have to take some time to really develop it, because that's not like I would have to develop it in a way where it would really be exciting and there's like a lot of stuff going on. Because that idea is cool to me. Like, I think it's not your typical, like, I would want to turn that into a movie. But make it a really fun story, like a really fun adventure story with like a lot of things going on. Because like the Da Vinci Code was cool, but I don't know. I felt like it could have been better. And it wasn't so much about that, you know. The Da Vinci Code was was about other stuff. It wasn't so much about painting forgery and stuff. But because of that pursuit, it would be cool to make it into like a whole series where the protagonist ends up going on all these like multiple adventures, having to, let's say, escape because he's been found out for a forgery, and having to hide away somewhere, maybe in some like tribal setting or something. Get accustomed to that. To like maybe even helping out the tribe that's being exploited by capitalists or something. You know, like they're peaceful and they're really enjoying their land, and then come these cunts basically who are just like, we're gonna take over to make profit, and we're gonna use your land for exploitation and such. And like he helps them defend them, and in that process he's discovered, like they recognize and like they realize like, oh, we could profit from turning him in, you know. So they go after him, and then he has to like escape. It's kind of like, all right, I'm coming up with this story as I'm thinking about it, I guess. Like that would be fun, right? That would be like an interesting adventure comic, I guess. I would have to really come up with good dialogue and such. So much to do, so little time. Because in the comic, I wouldn't necessarily have to paint, or maybe not. Why not? You know, maybe I could do something somewhat close to the original painting. Maybe like a close-up shot or something in one of the panels to say, you know, this is the forgery of so-and-so. And in the auction or something. where it all goes down, and he's discovered or something. I don't know. I have like other ideas for comic books, but having to write them while just trying to take my drawing to the next level, it's just a lot. And having these projects going on, I have to have like impeccable time management in order to be able to squeeze that in there as well. But you know, it could be something that I do in the future. I think I would probably just have to take my own advice on it and approach it more of just like one page written every weekend or something. You know, like I would sit down and write one page, and then if I can't afford more than that, eventually I'll have a story written out. You know, if I just do one page per week of writing and really come up with a good comic book scenario for each one of them. Uh-oh. This guy's way too big, and that's ruining the perspective, even though it's coming out alright. I have to draw him smaller because he's further in the back. But I remember, I think it was trying to remember what the movie was. But anyways, this director was talking about how you could buy yourself index cards, and on each index card you write out the scene. So it could be like, scene 1 is index card 1, and you describe the scene, and on the back of the index card you write the dialogue. I think that was the method. And then by the end, you know, you got yourself like a script, basically. Which is a great idea. But it's also approaching incrementally to getting something out, which I like. I like that concept. Because it could be overwhelming at times, you know, just to think about it. Well, especially in this case, like, where I barely have any time. But incrementally, you know, to do that, and then have a story written out eventually, that's pretty cool. That's a cool idea. And though I like, you know, there are certain superhero comics that I really enjoy. I do like the idea of like non-superhero concepts for a comic. It's one of the reasons why I really love indie comics. One of the reasons why I love like Moonshine and 100 Bullets and Outcast, because they're not really about superheroes or any of that sort of thing. They're just stories, you know. They're stories. They're fantastical. Some are fantastical. Some of them have that like sci-fi element to it. graphic novels. Like they're novels, but they're told through comic book format. I like that. I just don't think I spent enough time really exploring superhero comics. I think I spent more time with like indie comics. But I'm sure if I spent more time like reading them, getting to know the stories, getting to know the depth of all of it, I'll probably get into it. And I like that it's keeping things going with comic books, because of these like really extensive universes and just movies coming out, all that stuff. I really like that. Yeah, it's like keeping comics going, and I don't see them going away. There's just so much. There's such a strong basis for so many things, because basically it's a movie script. It's a movie script with storyboards, which are essential for movies. So the more stories come out, the more chances there are going to be some awesome movies out. And they've already made some awesome TV shows like Preacher, if you guys have heard of that one. That's worth every minute. And I think Seth Rogen produced them, or he was like, I think he was the producer for it. I don't think he was the director, but I think he produced it. Awesome comic book. Also one of my favorite artists as well. Steve Dillon, I believe, and I think he passed away, which is so shitty. Pretty pissed about that. But yeah, if you guys are watching, if you're looking to watch something and you haven't seen it yet, check that out. Preacher. And I remember when I first saw that comic book, I was like, oh, it's just like, religious fanatics trying to get in on comic book. And then I read it and I looked at the art and I was like, all right, okay, this is great. Like, this is very, very well done. The story is interesting. It's very clever, very clever. I'm going to say, like, the dialogue is very clever. How they interact with each other, the concepts are really clever. The humor is really dark. Like, it's dark and gory. Not that I'm a fan of goriness or anything like that, but it's just to balance out the fact that it's talking about like religious concepts and stuff. But not even so much, I think it's like the story is more philosophical than it is to say like become a religious person. Like, that's not the message there at all. In fact, like, if I was to think back on the story and the plot, the message isn't that. It's not trying to drive home that. I mean, you could come to that sort of conclusion, depending on how you see it, what you see in it. There could be something that kind of sparks that, but that's not really the intent there, which I was shocked to, like, considering the book is called Preacher and it's a priest on the cover of the comic. I was pleasantly surprised. And there are just so many good indie comic books out there. I almost don't have time to read up on these superhero ones because their universe is so extensive. Like, I feel like if I jump into it, there's no end, you know? Whereas I like that these stories, they do have like a story that starts and finishes, you know, that has this like message or concept or idea that you can grasp completely from beginning to end. So not that I'm knocking the ones that don't have that. It's just, I guess it's a good thing to have a mix, is what I'm getting at. It's good to have both. But I just, for now, I guess I don't have that leisurely time to dive into those really extensive universes. And I'm always going to prefer comic books to movies. Like, these movies, meh. They're not bad. They're just not for me. That's just the way I look at it. I'm glad they're made. Absolutely love that they are making them. But, just not my cup of tea, man. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Tiny little detail, here I come, man. Like, I could barely... I don't want to make any mistakes here with her lips. It's very important that it's done well, but space is limited here. And again, this is different than how it's done originally. Originally, it's on a comic book paper, and comic book paper is a lot taller, it's a lot wider, and then it's used to scan and be sent over for printing. But in this case, I'm really not even, I don't have that. So every detail counts here. And as you can see, because of some lines, it looks like she has bags under her eyes. Damn it. Damn. Gonna dig a hole in this section here. Not cool. But I think it's really important that everything lines up here. Like, the eyes have to make sure that they're following the same line. Like, it can't be that one is higher or lower than the other. That's immediately gonna destroy the image. So, like, tiny little details make such an important role here. And the more I've studied some of his art, like, the more I notice how modern day artists, even artists that I look up to, or I looked up to when I was much younger, I could see how they were influenced by John Buscema's work. Like how he drew women and certain features. I could see how somebody really liked it and then just took it and ran with it and created their own style with that. Not plagiarized it, complete opposite, like just the definition of influence, like where just tiny little elements, you know, or sometimes the inconsistencies, let's say, like somebody one day they draw a hand a certain way and then all other times it's different. So that one instant, that one moment of that that way of drawing the hand, for example, could influence somebody and have that be their style. You know, from that, a style flourishes from just that one hiccup that was unintentional. It spurs like somebody else's style in some way, which I think is really cool. It's very interesting. It's cool to notice that. And then there's other artists that I've seen where they're just shamelessly, like, to the T. I'm saying, like, exactly like the artist. I mean, at the very least, they're like following the artist. And I don't know if it's for admiration or for more opportunities to plagiarize, but and I saw that and I was like, shame on this person, man. They're good at it, like they're doing it exactly the same, but I don't support that. I wouldn't buy their comic. I don't think it's right that they're just like, it's exactly the same. There's like not even a slight variation to it. But like in this case right here, I mean, switching the topic slightly, even here, like when I'm trying to draw it exactly, it's still not going to look the same. You know, there's like a certain element, and I don't really want it to. You know, despite me wanting to just level up and learn and get better with my line work, it's just this idea that lines are so individualistic. You know, just a slight change in the angle, just a slight change in gap between features, or how big that you're drawing them, or small that you're drawing them in comparison to the original, already makes a huge difference. You know, it already makes it not John Buscema's work in any way. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I mean is there's no way to completely be exactly the same. Even if it's to the T, like your line work still has some bit of variation difference. This is cool. I like this music. I did like this music. It made me think of a scene from Blade Runner, which I've yet to rewatch. and I haven't really been catching up with Peripheral. Maybe I'll do that tonight, but it's just like I said, there's like just too much going on, man. It's frustrating in some ways because I want to be able to do these things, like be able to watch these series and see what's going on. But maybe other people who are also drawing could relate. I just have this like overwhelming amount of guilt whenever I sit down and I'm spending like an hour, even 2 hours watching something. I'm like, I could be drawing right now. You know, I could be writing this movie script that I'm talking about. So it's like I can't fully devote myself to what I'm watching for that reason. So I guess it's going to be for the entire stream, and I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this panel because I still got to do some work on the rocks here in the background. And I definitely drew it a lot bigger than the original because there's like all this that's supposed to be in shadow, and there's way more at the top. Drew him too big. Alright, moving on. Moving on and doing Conan. It started out good, the song started out good, but then now it just sounds like some like Russian wedding music or something. Or like Middle Eastern wedding music. Not that it's bad. Middle Eastern music isn't bad, but there's just like a certain level where like they hire like a DJ who doesn't have like that much experience, and you know, he plays like unfitting music. I got nothing against Russian or Middle Eastern music. It's just a certain, it's just like a certain skill level, I think. You know, there's like in drawing where you got novice, somebody who's novice, and somebody who is a little bit more experienced, or it's like their own personal music. Like the DJ is like, oh good, I got a gig over this weekend, I'm gonna be playing a wedding, and they compiled some music of their own rather than picking, I guess, like more professional stuff. Nope, this is still very different. How I'm drawing Conan's face is very different, and I think that has to do with the gap between the eyes and the nose. Now this beat I'm familiar with. This is a good one. Bummer. I do want to maybe end the stream here because I'm not going to finish it. You know, I don't want to speed through it because I'm drawing like such tiny little details. I think I'm going to like ingrain it into the paper, and it'll be hard to redo it the more I get into it. I'm gonna give this one more go, and then, ladies and gents, I'm gonna call it a night for tonight for the Art Lounge Alley. But I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be the project stream where I'm gonna be doing some oil painting, digital oil painting. Clip Studio Paint has some great brushes, or brush, I'll just say, that emulates oil paint, and I'm going to be doing more of that for those of you who haven't been tuning in. Check that out. That's tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be doing more figure drawing. So it gives you guys an opportunity to come up with questions. You know, some things that you guys want to get insight about. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about the stream or the content. It could be about anything. I'm open to discussing and talking about all sorts of stuff. So come up with your questions, post them in chat. And this week I'm gonna have a couple of more special intros rolling your way. So make sure you stay up to date with what's going on. The Art Lounge Alley, I'll be announcing it as well. I'll be announcing it tomorrow. I'm talking about the special intro. Alright, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, for those of you who are just tuning in for the very first for those of you who are just tuning in for the very first time, just remember to hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.